Jandik album covers. Jandik is an American singer born in 1945 whom I have never heard of. Looking into Jandik a little bit, I found out that this guy is very strange, and to this day we know very little about him. This entry is all about his first album cover, which looks very cool. So I decided to give him a listen to see what he sounds like, because, it's a new guy, I've never heard of him, maybe he sounds good. And to say I was blown away would be an understatement. I'll play a little snippet of one of his songs so you can see what I mean. But fair warning, he makes Soul Train sound angelic. I got a vision. Yeah, it's tough. But at least the album cover is kind of cool, so got that going for him. Foodland. Foodland is a grocery store chain in the southern part of the US and apparently Hawaii too. Just like other entries further up on the iceberg, the Foodland entry is all about a specific closed down storefront on an overcast day. I personally love this image not only because of it being a good, haunting image, but I really like the cold and lost feelings that these types of images give off, and I'm also just a big fan of dreary weather. Monsters, Inc. Thinking back to when I'd watched Monsters, Inc. for when I was little, I couldn't recall any instances of the movie where there were liminal spaces, but looking back at it now, all of these feelings of unease came flooding back. I do remember feeling really uncomfortable during some of these scenes. I think it was the awkward amount of space that was to blame. I never watched this movie much when I was a kid, because I would always be uneased while watching. Maybe it was because of these creepy liminal spaces. And no, not because I was scared for the first 30 seconds of the movie. The Marbled Rooms. Now, there are a lot of liminal spaces that have either marbled flooring, walls, or a ceiling, so this entry could be referring to a bunch of different places. But I'm confident it's this image of two statues in the middle of a room, with what looks to be a skylight above it. I've always loved the lighting in these images, how it looks so bright in the middle of the picture and lightens up the main subject, that being the two statues, and how dark the background is, like you aren't meant to see anything more. There's also a really cool fun fact about this picture. It's used as the album cover of Between Two Worlds by Infinity Frequencies, released in 2018. They have 360k listeners a month on Spotify, so they're pretty popular, I'd say. And they still do music, so give them a listen if you like dreamcore/vaporwave stuff. Also, while I'm writing this script, the Spotify Wrap just came out, and I would love to know what your most played song was. Mine was Dead Weight by Jack Stauber, who I love and adore. As much as I would love to just talk about Jackie Poo all day, we got more liminal spaces to cover. And who knows, we might talk about them a little down the road. Baggage Room. Baggage Room, or baggage claim, is a very creepy place when you're all alone and there's not a bag around. Just like any other liminal space on this whole iceberg, I always love seeing these types of liminal spaces that are really easy to take in real life, if you have the chance. All you need is an area where people commonly would be, and if you happen to be the only one in the area, boom, instant liminal space. Crinkly Bottom Theme Park. Noel's House Party was a British TV show from 1991 and that lasted 8 seasons and was the most notable thing to ever happen in 1991. The children's TV show was the birthplace of the short-lived Crinkly Bottom's chain of theme parks. And if you thought that the name of the parks made you uncomfortable, then just wait till you see its mascot, Mr. Blobby. This thing is absolutely horrifying, and even the way Google describes him is unsettling. He is a bulbous, pink figure covered in yellow spots, with a permanent grin, red lips, and green, jiggling eyes. Bro. And for such a creepy thing, deserves a creepy house. These are all images of Mr. Blobby's house at the old defunct theme park. Out of all the liminal spaces that we have covered up to this point, this is the one that has creeped me out the most, because of this guy specifically. I would hate to be in this house, decrepit as it is, and then turn around and see him waiting for me. Liminal spaces recreated in Roblox. With Roblox being as popular as it is and how there being so many creative tools to make really whatever you want, it is not a shock or surprise that people would start building playable versions of creepy places seen online. And just like other recreations in other games, some of these are pretty faithful to the original source. It's always nice to see people creating and showing off things that they're proud of, especially when others feel the same way. Some of the liminal space renditions in Roblox, I would say, rival the original image, at least in terms of how creepy it is. Your Last Stop. This entry is more Dreamcore-like compared to much of the others that we've covered so far on this iceberg, which I will never complain about. While some of these liminal spaces are dark and creepy, are filled with really eerie type atmospheres, it's the bright ones that don't feel real that I'm drawn to the most. I really like the uncanny mix of natural and man-made structures, like the stop sign, sidewalk, and road in the middle of literal nowhere, all below a bright blue sky with barely any clouds. Speaking of bright, that's what makes all of these Dreamcore images the most uncanny, in my opinion, that is. The Amazing World of Gumball House. Growing up on Cartoon Network in the 2000s and 2010s meant I would watch a lot of Gumball. And one really cool thing the show did was use a lot of different mediums and art styles, otherwise known as mixed media, a medium I still love to this day. Because of this consistent jump between 3D, 2D, live action, and animation, is that some things would look out of place. While the Gumball house is a real place, the inside seems to be mostly 3D renders, or backgrounds of other real places. Just take a few things away and boom, instant liminal space. There are some other liminal spaces around the town of Elmore, like the school for instance, but with how the show looks, you could make almost any background a liminal space. SpongeBob Gone title card. Season 6, Episode 4, titled Gone, is an episode where SpongeBob wakes up to a completely empty Bikini Bottom, with this entry solely referring to the title card of the episode, being remarkably more uncanny than some of the other title cards. I love how desolate this landscape is, with it getting darker yet darker. The title of the episode especially helps. Crazy how 3 seconds of a SpongeBob episode becomes a very eerie liminal space when taken out of context. KC. When I first searched this entry, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find whatever KC is supposed to mean. Like, is the entirety of Kansas City, Missouri liminal? Thankfully, it wasn't anything too complicated. I'm pretty confident that KC is just referring to this image, which is creepy as hell. The image of a barren mall with that one roly guy that Wendigoon is mortified of. Speaking of Wendigoon, he did make a good video on an analog horror with this gentle giant, and I highly recommend you give it a watch. It will give you more context on what and whom this cutie is. Music pipes. I have never heard of Music up until recently, when my better half showed me some of their videos. She would watch them all the time when she was little, especially in school. While these videos are pretty neat, I wouldn't call them that liminal necessarily, or at least I personally don't find them that liminal. While some of these can and do work as a liminal space, they aren't personally my cup of tea. Shout out to Music though for its cool content, and shout out to anyone who watched this as a kid. I hope I could bring some memories back to some people out there who enjoyed watching these when they were little. That hurt. At first, when I was researching this entry, I was worried of what I would find, if I would even find it at all. But after a few minutes, what I found will shock you.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Billy. That hurt.
Yeah. Turns out this one was not an entry over something creepy or obscure, but in fact the quiet and still seconds before an old man falls through the ceiling. The last day of Target. Here we have another amazing example of an empty store being transformed into a liminal space once you strip a few layers back. But unlike all the other examples of out of business or empty stores, I would go to Target a ton as a child, making it hit a little close to home for me personally. I miss it when Target had a little concession area where we would always get popcorn and slushies before walking around the store. I really do miss those. There might be a day when Target goes out of business and we would get a wave of very liminal images of old, defunct Targets. And we'll just have a lot more of these images, bringing back our nostalgia of what once was. Also, when I was little, they used to have like these neon lights on the walls, and my mom would tell me that those were no yell lights, and it worked, like immediately. Like every time me or my sister would get loud, we would look at the lights and think, oh shit. The iceberg that sank the Titanic. Now, I had no idea we had an actual photo of the presumed iceberg that hit the Titanic. It's kind of hard to know for sure because people weren't running around taking pictures of a big hunk of ice that just tore a huge chunk out of the ship they were riding in, so it's mostly just speculation. The photo of this iceberg is haunting to say the least. The reason we think that this could be the one that sank the Titanic is because it was found with red and black paint in the Atlantic Ocean, which I'm assuming this darker area is supposed to be the paint in question. I don't know, I'm colorblind. Whether this is a picture of the exact iceberg or not doesn't really matter. What does is that this photo from 1912 is very creepy. It makes me even more afraid of the ocean than I already was. Jeff Burrows, Approaching Nowhere. Approaching Nowhere is a book by Jeff Burrows, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that contains photos of mostly things in decline, like streets, buildings, and quiet fields. The entire book is just a collage of Jeff's many pictures exploring themes of loss, cultural geography, and decline. It's really cool to see that this book contains nothing but liminal images from front to back. I personally really love the themes that are explored in this book, and I also love how color is used very sparingly in most of these images, making what little color they do use pop. But if you want a book with just pictures of liminal spaces, please consider picking this book up for yourself. Jack Stauber's Opal. Well, that name looks familiar. Jack Stauber's Opal is one of the best short films, best things I have ever seen in my entire life. And as much as I want to just sit here and talk about the entire video, I will be brave. I'll be brave and not spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched this like 10-minute video of perfection. So please, if you haven't seen it already, I beg you, I'm on my hands and knees right now. You need to watch it. It's like a little over 10 minutes. Just go watch that. You'll understand everything I'm getting at. This guy is amazing. I would say it's one of the best things that I have personally ever seen, second only to another one of Jack Stauber's creations. So one of the many reasons I love Jack Stauber's stuff is just of how creepy and eerie this looks, due to a combination of his mixed media and VHS effects making things look more, I don't know, like analog horror type or lost media, something eerie like that. And also because this is a very strange man with a very grotesque art style, which I, again, love very much. Even affecting his backgrounds, which, you know, this whole entry is about. It's just the backgrounds of Opal and how creepy they look. This man is that good. Please, if you take anything away from me about anything I say on this iceberg or anything at all ever, no matter how long I live, let it be this. Go watch Jack Stauber's things. It's amazing. I love it. He never posts anymore. Jack, this is for you. Please, for the love of God, Jack, please post again. Please come back to us. It doesn't have to be on Instagram. It doesn't have to be on YouTube. Just, it could even be your Patreon. I have that. Just upload to your Patreon, please. It's been a year. Jackie, please come back, please. I'm on my hands and knees begging. This man is ruining my life! R+7, One-a-Tricks Point Never. This is another album cover, this one being released in September of 2013. I listened to a bit of the music of this album as well, and I think it's alright. A lot better than another album on this iceberg, that's for sure. It mostly sounds like random noises, although there is some sort of melody being played, so it actually sounds like music. I do really like the album cover, but paired alongside how weird and off-putting the music is, it really makes the album cover just look more eerie. If you like weird new age music, I recommend giving R+7 a try. We gotta get SpongeBob back. Last SpongeBob entry, I promise. Just like the last SpongeBob entry on this iceberg, this too is just a screen grab from the episode, but instead of it being the intro, it's actually within the episode itself. It being a 3D render of the iconic SpongeBob Island. Something about seeing a weird altered version of an island that you've seen like a million times really breeds this feeling of unease and makes the image way more liminal than it was likely intended to be. But if you made it all the way down here to the 5th layer of the iceberg, you were probably here for it. One of the most simplest entries on the iceberg, but still a creepy one nonetheless. Pepper's Playhouse. This game has no jump scares, but contains disturbing imagery and gross themes such as eyes, raw meat, and. Raw meat and what? Pepper's Playhouse is a Roblox horror game that takes heavy inspiration from weirdcore and liminal spaces. Already sounds like my cup of tea. Creating an unsettling and eerie setting. That and the monster trying to eat you and all. But the backgrounds, ooh, creepy. Pretty liminal, whoa. While there isn't anything creepy, besides maybe the eyes, this game really is just a liminal wonderland where you can walk around and interact with other liminal spaces. Some that are even from the real world. While there might be some inner lore here and there, I'm just here for the liminal aspect of it, and what it does do, it does pretty well. And it's in Roblox, which is pretty cool. Can I move like this?
Run, little girl. Run. Teleport failed. Aww. And Drake smells a pie in the window.
r/former Pizza Huts. Pizza Hut is one of those establishments that wouldn't shock me if they go out of business in the next decade or so. Even if every Pizza Hut in America were to close down, they would still live on through their iconic roofs that carry on to the next storefront that takes its place. But before that happens, a closed down, empty pizza shop shares the same vibes as every other vacant lot: barren, creepy, and quiet. And just like every other vacant lot, Father Time always wins, making old, decrepit Pizza Huts just as creepy as any other vacant lot. David Lynch. David Lynch was an American filmmaker and painter who sadly passed away in January of this year, 5 days before his 79th birthday. David Lynch, this one's for you. This entry is all about some of the backgrounds that were in some of David Lynch's movies, and how a bunch of them give off a liminal feel. Almost all of these images use a lot of depth to make you feel weird to be the only one there, or at least that's how I feel. For me, I'm always put on the edge when scanning an image that has a lot of space or depth to it, because I'm worried that someone sees me when I don't see them. I don't know what that says about me, but that's how I feel about it. Once you pair that with some harsh lighting or colors, that's when I get totally spooked. So thank you, David Lynch, for being very good at your job, because you made mine a lot more interesting. Hello, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for watching my stupid Liminal Space Iceberg videos. I'm glad that people are seeming to like them. I wanted to get this out before the new year so I can start off 2026 with the last one, the last hurrah for the iceberg. We're almost done. I'm very proud of how it turned out, and I'm glad that people are actually watching it, even though my friends aren't, but that's okay if they don't have to watch it. I would still like to make content, good content that is. My last semester of college will be coming up in about a month or so, and hopefully I'll get all that done so I will be able to hopefully make better content. I doubt that is going to happen, but at least I won't have school going on. I just wanted to say, I hope you guys have an amazing New Year's. I hope you had an amazing holiday. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll try to make the last layer of the iceberg very special. I have a few ideas, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you. I love you.